What's up, everybody? We're gonna be trying a slightly different video today. I mean, nothing too special, but patch notes. Yeah. Um. So apparently there was maintenance last night, which I knew about. Maintenance is supposed to just be like regular maintenance, right? Like there weren't any announcements made or anything. Then all of a sudden they surprised us with these patch notes. Now I've already looked at them before, or glanced at them at least before I make this video, and they didn't change a whole lot. And judging by the update number, I would say that we're still due for a major content change in somewhere around mid June. Um, yeah, matter of fact, I know we are because they didn't change the battle pass. So somewhere like mid June, maybe start of July, y'all can still be expecting a major content change. But this was an interesting surprise. This came completely out of left field and caught me off guard for sure. So let's go through and talk about what they changed. So here we have some low level stuff talking about Kuma's Royale. Now this is interesting because Kuma's Royale way back in the day used to be literally the most effective way to speed level. Like the amount of XP you got from this was crazy. And then when the player base started to die, it quit popping. So interestingly enough, they're trying to give it some love by changing the numbers of people needed, and obviously they have to rework the game itself. But another thing, it appears they've added an event where for the Kuma's Victory Royale chest. I mean, obviously you can get some of this other stuff, and like that jackpot pouch, like all this stuff's cool. But this right here, fellas, look at this right here. Elite status gold 3 days item can be obtained. So if you're a new player, I and you're leveling, I suggest you like while you're doing your other stuff, queue up for Kumas just to see if it pops. Cause even like people that sit at in game, even people that are already level 65, I guarantee you are going to be creating alts just to get this right here. This elite status gold 3 days. People are going to play this game. Maybe not after the event ends. Who knows? That's kind of the point, is to get people to play it, and then hopefully they stick around. Only time will tell if they will. I highly doubt they will. But for the time being, as long as this event is going on, people are going to be going crazy after this right here. So I would suggest y'all try playing Kumas. Next, we have some dungeon changes. So they added or re-added the Abscus, or no, they didn't. Fuck, Abscus. Yeah, Abscus was here the whole time. The item level is throwing my mind for a loop. Red Refuge is still here. They added Velox Hold as a 443. Velox Hold's been in and out of the game. If you're brand new, um, it's just a dungeon. Like it used to be a 7-man, but they changed it to a 5-man, so there's literally nothing special about it. It's just another dungeon. Calamus Dreadnought. This dungeon has been gone for a long time, and they brought it back as 443. So that's interesting. Unfortunately, unless they do a double drop event or something, there's no reason for me to run this. But it's nice to see that they finally brought this whole dungeon back. Like this dungeon has been gone for a while. Red Refuge Hard. Apparently they lowered the item level. Or they brought it back and they lowered the item level. So this used to be a 448. That's interesting. Um, this will be fun. Like even being low item level, just the way the mechanics work in this one, this is going to be fun as an experienced player. Um, Watching new players get their butt handed to them. Um, New and experienced players alike, because Argog on in Red Refuge Hard, he's a bully. I remember suffering through this so hard the first time I learned it back in the day. Shadow Sanguinary is back. Unfortunately, it is a 448, so maybe it'll be slightly faster. But I despise this dungeon. If you know it, you know it. If you don't, you don't. You know, this isn't like a dungeon guide. I'm not gonna go in depth in it. AA normal is still here. Added Shadow Sanguinary hard. 453. Ah, this is what I was thinking of. Interesting. Um, so yeah, you can get. I'm pretty sure I haven't logged into the game yet. At the time of this recording, my game is actually updating because I didn't have enough space for it to automatically update during the night. So I haven't logged in yet to see if you can actually get Abyss stuff from this dungeon. But I would imagine you could, just because it's given you Abyssal stuff in the past. Corrupted Skynest is still here. I'm glad to see that. I love that dungeon. AH is still here. That's obvious because that's the farm dungeon. Rampaging RK9 and Corrupted Skynest Hard are still here. So they removed Ruinous Manor Hard, which is perfectly fine in my opinion because the Ecto drop in that was horrible. Nobody wanted to run it. It was like more work for less reward than AH. So anybody that had like a bunch of alts never ran Ruinous Manor. People just live in AH all day. Some people are kind of mad that it's gone. They're like, well, it's just a little bit more Ecto you could have gotten. You know, I don't care. I was sick and tired of Ruinous Manor, and I hated the dungeon in general to start with. So I'm glad it's gone. You can see here they closed the Forbidden Arenas. Um, Literally nobody ran those at all. That's why. Um, Ruinous Manor normal and hard. Now, considering Ruinous Manor got removed, I don't know if Shadow Sanguinary normal or hard are gonna take its place for the chance to drop HO boxes. Cause that was that made for an interesting loot pool. Like it was actually, even though Ruinous Manor normal was a 448 or 451 or whatever it was still worth running even for in-game players, just because of the chance to drop the HO boxes. So I don't know if one of these shadows will drop HO boxes or if they increase the chance on other dungeons or something. I don't know. I need to log in, but that's not an option right now. um, let's Gillyglade talk about that in a minute. They removed Ravenous Gorge, Lilith Keep. That's unfortunate. Forsaken Island. That's not surprising. Literally nobody ran that. They also closed Echoes of Ariana and Celestial Arena. So, Celestial Arena's meh, but I'm kind of sad that I'm I'm honestly surprised and sad that they closed this right here. Now, this was not like loot wise, this was not worth running. There was no reason to run this, but it added like this right here was it wasn't even a dungeon. It was literally like a solo thing that like told a good chunk of the story. Like removing this right here removes a ton of the story out of the game. And I know most in-game players don't really care about it, but I know there are some people that just like enjoy, the stories of games, and maybe some of the new people that didn't make it to this yet and are watching this. This had a lot of story information. There was a lot of stuff that happened here. Like without this, there's gonna be like in-game dungeon context stuff that like y'all are not even gonna be able to understand unless you get an explanation of this. This is unfortunate. I'm surprised they did this, even though nobody did it. Like I mean, if nothing else, just leave it there for the story. I'm very surprised that this is gone. So now, this is what caught my attention when I rolled out of bed this morning because I saw people talking about this in the Discord. So, new players. Now, I haven't talked about Gillyglade on my channel because it literally was not worth running at all whatsoever. Back in the day, it used to be, and at the time, it hasn't been, but now it definitely is. Like, oh my god, is it? Um, so they made some major changes to Gillyglade. Can drop smart dyad Niviate structures. Not just dyad, smart. Smart dyad Neviate structures. For some of you new players that don't really know, this is a big deal. A very, very, very big deal. In the past, the only way to obtain these was every Christmas event. Smart dyads. So, for those of you that don't know, I haven't really made a crystal video. Maybe I should, but long story short, dyads are like better versions of the regular crystals that you slot into your weapon. You know, you put a dyad structure in, and then you put 3 crystals in, and it gives you a random crystal, right? That technically has better effects than whatever its regular counterpart is. So the thing with smart dyad structures is, say I want to make a dyad pounding crystal. With a smart dyad structure, you can put that in, and if you put 3 pounding Neviates into the smart dyad structure, it is guaranteed to give you a dyad pounding with a random secondary effect. So this is very important for, like, if you're starting to get into the end game, if you're starting to get close to like maxing your character. If you're Stormcry or higher, this is going to pertain to you. And even if you're not, like, you'll be working on this pretty soon. So then they have the stigma chest. That's good. We always need more ways to get stigmas. This right here, the stat change stone. We're going to come back to this in just a second. And also, apparently, there's a chance for it to drop the Kinlong and the Fei Long. Now, there are 2 different versions of these, okay? Then this is mainly going to pertain to more like in-game players, but for new players, you know, you're welcome to listen, obviously. So, these are the lower level 1.5 crit mounts. These are not the 2.5 god tier ones. However, they do provide the buff. The buff that gives you the list of consumable buffs for the limited amount of time or whatever. These do have that. So you do get the buff. Just be aware that it's the 1.5, not the 2.5. But even still, this is insane. Like, even obviously it's going to be a very low drop probability. It says it right here. But even with that being said, this is crazy. I'm surprised. Like, this is the first time they've given out, like, quote unquote, given out a free mount that, like, is actually worth something and actually has stats on it. Like, this is crazy. This is new for sure. And you have the stat change stone. 50% chance of dropping stat change stone when you kill the chest. Among them, uncommon, rare, superior. Obviously, if you've been around for, like, I don't know, if you've been level 65 for like 3 months or longer, you're not going to care about the uncommon. But the rare and the superior are going to be very useful. Even though there's stat changes, not even like upgrades, but even the stat changes is going to make everybody's life at in-game so much easier. And yes, I have seen photographs of people already finding superior stat change stones. So I think, like, as far as drop rate goes, I think you're more likely to see a superior stat change roll than you are to see one of these mounts drop. Which is good, because you need multiples of these if you're trying to, like, you know, go for superior rolls. Now, at the end of the day, we all wish they'd give us stigma, stat roll, spellbinds. That would be great. But, you know, this is something, you know, it's definitely something. These right here are going to be very useful. So Gillyglade is worth running again, like, straight up. And it was somewhere through here. I don't really know where it's at, but it says it somewhere that they drastically increased the amount of Goldfinger tokens you get out of there too. So, you know, increased chances to get some anywhere. So those of you in-game players that have a bunch of alts laying around, it's time to dust them off and send them into Gillyglade. Even if you know, like me, I had like 6 alts at item level 458 or higher because I was farming AH. But now I can send all those alts into Gillyglade plus the other lower level ones in there too as well if I'm really desperate. Like, this is a big deal. Like, I'd imagine that me and some of my buddies are probably just going to be doing this for the next couple of days just to see, like, kind of feel out the probability on the drops of this stuff. This is a big deal. So, new and experienced players alike, you need to be running Gilliglade. Gillyglade's back in full force. You need to be running this. Interestingly enough, they tweaked the Ace Dungeon reward. So, this is another thing that wasn't worth running, like, at all. But now um, they changed the shop a little bit, and they added a bonus material box too. I don't really care about that, but they added emeralds. So I'm interested. Again, I haven't logged in yet, so keep that in mind. I want to look at how many points are needed to get an emerald, because this might, depending on the price of the emerald, this might be worth running just to get a little bit of extra gems and gold. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I don't know, because I haven't logged in yet. I'd have to do some math when I get in and just kind of like, run a couple, see how long, see how many points I get and how long it takes me, and just kind of see, is it worth it? So I plan to look at this. Y'all can look at that too if you want. Yeah. Purchase point. This is kind of irrelevant. I mean, like, glyphs, you're just going to be farming out anyway. So, that's it. Like, in a general sense, there's not a whole lot they changed. I mean, it was supposed to be routine maintenance. Like, I'm surprised that any of this happened. Like, this caught me completely off guard. But, I mean, everything here, aside, like, dungeons are always bittersweet. I mean, like, they brought some stuff, removed some stuff, meh. But the Kumas for the Elite Gold here, as well as the changes to Gilliglade, and I want to check out the Emeralds in the Ace Dungeon. These are some interesting changes. Like in-game players definitely caught a wind of relief here with the stat changes, and yeah. So that's pretty much it, fellas. But I mean, this is interesting. This is a big deal. So check out Kuma's, start farming Gilliglade again, and if y'all want to, you can check out the Ace Dungeon. I'm gonna check that out. It may or may not be worth it. I haven't had a chance to log in yet. So yeah.